Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. I really like this signing by the Pittsburgh Steelers, signing safety Jabriel Peppers. The last 2 years in the league, his Pro Football Focus grade is 90.1, ranking him as the fourth best safety in the league over that period. His excellent overall grade places him among the elite safeties in the NFL. A grade of 90 or higher is considered an elite PFF grade, indicating Peppers performed at a high level as a safety. With Jabrill, everything is pretty much off the field issues. So I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't been a 10. He was slated to start for the New England Patriots, and maybe he did something to piss off Mike Vrabel, and they just didn't want him anymore. I have no clue what's going on. Coach Tomlin, he likes to take risks on these types of players. All the upside in the world, and what's the worst thing that can happen? He could say peace, goodbye, and you're out the door. But I don't think that's going to happen. I have a good feeling about this pick. I'm feeling positive. Usually I don't like these types of guys that have locker room issues, but I think Coach Tomlin could kind of get him under control, and I think that he is really going to be an asset and a good pickup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rappaport Steelers signing safety Jabriel Peppers. Peppers, 29, was cut by the New England Patriots last month and was not on an NFL roster week 1. A vested veteran, his contract now isn't guaranteed for the entire season. With 99 career games and 85 starts, Peppers offers plenty of NFL experience. Last season, he appeared in just 6 games, but was productive, recording 40 tackles, 2 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble, and 1 interception. In 2023, he started 15 games for the Patriots, recording 78 tackles. It's got to be off the field issues. It's got to be in the locker room issues. And it's really as simple as this. If Jabriel Peppers comes into the locker room and he starts causing problems, he needs to, Coach Tomlin just needs to say goodbye, and that's it. Just warn him as soon as he gets there. Just say, listen, if you act up, if you do one thing off the field where you get arrested, you're gone. We can't let this fester. We can't, opportunity after opportunity. We can't have another George Pickens. I am so glad George Pickens is gone. Already on the Cowboys, he's causing problems. For any fans out there that think that Coach Tomlin, Art Rooney, and the Pittsburgh Steelers organization made a mistake letting go of George Pickens, you are misinformed heavily. You have no clue what is actually going on. But I have a good feeling about this, and I usually don't. I usually am totally against all these types of pickups for a team. I'm really against it. But Jabriel Peppers, when you see how productive he's been and how young he is, it's got to be something internal, locker room or off the field, and that's why teams keep saying goodbye. Again, he was slated to start for the New England Patriots, and right before the season started, Mike Vrabel said goodbye. I really can't figure out why Dan Moore Jr. wasn't re-signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't want to hear that the Pittsburgh Steelers couldn't pay him the money. He's only making like $9 million a year more than Broderick Jones at tackle. The Pittsburgh Steelers are way under the salary cap, and they could have pulled it off in this entire year. It's just amazing. Like, we'll bring in somebody like Jabriel Peppers and pay him a decent amount of money, and then a guy that's proven that he can play, Dan Moore Jr., we just let him walk out the door and keep Broderick Jones. These types of decisions don't make sense to me, and I don't want to hear that financially the Pittsburgh Steelers couldn't make it work. They absolutely could make it work. They were way below the salary cap. I don't understand how the Pittsburgh Steelers let guys walk out of the door that can play, and guys that can't play, they keep around. And I don't want to hear, again, the financial aspect of it. Because if you look at Broderick Jones' salary and Dan Moore Jr.'s salary, it's not a lot of money difference. It's not a huge amount of money. Again, we're way under the salary cap. And this Broderick Jones gave up 3 sacks in his first game. This experiment needed to be over. I don't understand how you sit down as an organization and you're in the room and you're there with Coach Tomlin, you're there with Art Rooney, and you're there with Omar Khan, and you say, and everybody's just like, okay, well, we're going to let Dan Moore Jr. sign somewhere else, and we're going to keep Broderick Jones. And nobody's like, absolutely not. And then you look at the salary cap number, and you're way under the salary cap. You could have easily made it happen. And what is going to be the biggest problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers the entire year? Okay, fine. The run defense is horrible. Yeah, I get it. But the run defense is not what gets your quarterback killed. Aaron Rodgers cannot keep getting hit the way he did against the New York Jets the entire season. I mean, if he takes a couple more shots, he might not even make it past week 8 the way Broderick Jones is playing. You're like, oh, you're crying over spilled milk. We're already going into week number 2. Well, it just doesn't make sense. Make it make sense to me. Somebody please explain this to me. I know you're the salary cap. Again, Pittsburgh Steelers are way under the salary cap. They could have made this happen. They could have got rid of other players that aren't as good. You keep the guys that can play, and you let go of the guys that can't. It's just illogical. I don't deal good with this type of logic where you're just totally irrational. And that's what this decision was with Dan Moore Jr. and keeping Broderick Jones. Let's jump into Terry Bradshaw. I'm so sick of him sometimes too. This Terry Bradshaw is still mad at the Pittsburgh Steelers and Coach Tomlin for letting go of Kenny Pickett. Oh, let me guess, Terry. The Cleveland Browns, the Philadelphia Eagles, everybody failed Kenny but Kenny, right? Terry Bradshaw no longer barking about Steelers signing Aaron Rodgers. He played great. Well, Bradshaw, I thought he played great. Bradshaw said, I thought he played great Tuesday on 103.7 The Buzz. I thought he moved well, 4 touchdown passes. I just hope he keeps playing like that. As good as Aaron was as bad as defense was. I was shocked by that. Jalen Ramsey comes over at corner. I thought they would play much better. Looks like it was a good move for Pittsburgh. We'll see as the season progresses. I don't think Aaron played poorly at all. I never have thought that. You give him time and some weapons and they could be something. Yeah, you just didn't like him because it was personal. He's from California. You make references to being a weirdo because he's California. So it's just typical Terry, always putting his foot in his mouth. And you wonder why the Pittsburgh Steelers don't retire his jersey. Well, there you go. Terry, he has a history of doing this. And I always, from a player standpoint, I never feel like Terry Bradshaw gets the respect that he deserves. He never gets mentioned with the greatest quarterbacks ever. But then he constantly does stuff to the Pittsburgh Steelers organization or says irrational, stupid things. And you're just kind of like, you know what? Whatever. And that's how I feel about Terry. You know what I noticed when the Pittsburgh Steelers played the New York Jets? Every single first down, for the most part during the course of the game, the New York Jets had 10 guys in the box. Every first down, 10 defenders were in the box to stop the run. And guess what? Almost every single time the Pittsburgh Steelers ran the ball and they didn't pick up any yards. Like when Aaron Rodgers sees that, is he allowed to audible out and throw the ball? Because we need to mix that up better. Like every first down, we're trying to run. And I understand we got to be committed to the run. But when the Jets have 10 defenders in the box and clearly it's not going to work out, can we audible out and throw the ball downfield? I don't like to say things like that because obviously I'm not in the quarterback's room or I'm in the meeting room, but go back and look at the game. Every first down, the Jets had 10 guys in the box. Now, I know this sounds hypocritical because I said I loved the wrinkles that Arthur Smith added to the offense, and I did. I liked a lot of the different things that the Pittsburgh Steelers did on offense. But every single first down, it seemed like we were running the ball with 10 New York Jets defenders in the box. And then on second down, you didn't see any of those Jets defenders in the box. They were all dropped back, ready for the pass, and we passed the ball. We need to mix this up better. Steelers injury update. 3 players are already ruled out for the Seahawks game. Derek Harmon can anticipate continue to be out this week with his knee. Tomlin said via the team's YouTube channel. Deshaun Elliott, the same with his knee. Malik Harrison, the same with his knee. Those are 3 guys who are potentially scheduled to be out as I sit here today. Tomlin said he was optimistic that cornerback Joey Porter Jr. would play. And once again, Nick Herbig, it's just like Nick Herbig. The Steelers, when the contract time is up, I think it's time to say goodbye to Nick Herbig. I watched a program with TJ Watt, and they were talking to TJ Watt and with his wife and about Wisconsin. And they showed TJ Watt working out in Wisconsin with Nick Herbig. And TJ Watt goes, well, he only shows up for a month. And I just start shaking my head. So you have an opportunity to work out all off season with TJ Watt, and you show up a month before training camp, and then you wonder why you keep having the injuries that you do. TJ Watt barely ever gets injured. Like, yeah, he's injured, but he's still able to play. In the NFL, you're kind of always injured. Nick Herbig, every time he goes on the field and somebody breathes on him, oh, my hamstring, I got to get off. Nick, do me a favor. Give Westside Barbell a call in Ohio, and they'll fix those hamstrings so you don't miss any more games. It's just always the same old story with Nick Herbig. I'm kind of just getting over it. Like, oh, yeah, he's explosive. Yeah, well, when you're explosive for 3 plays and then you got to sit out for 2 games, you're not really much of an asset to the team. I'd rather just keep Jack Sawyer and trying to make him progress and turn into a better pass rusher, because Nick Herbig is never available. He's not available. Over it. I'm really over it with him. You know, I was saying this the entire game last week. I don't know why YA Black wasn't in the game. Keeanu Benton was nowhere to be found. A beat writer writes about it today. Beat writer concerned about Keeanu Benton's run defense, wonders when YA Black gets chance. Me too. I mean, you brought that huge body in to stop the run. Keeanu Benton obviously is not doing it. So, man, it's just sometimes, Coach Tomlin, he'll stick with these guys, and it's almost like you see this a lot with Coach Tomlin. You saw it all last year with Russell Wilson. Coach Tomlin's decision to stick with Russell Wilson made Justin Fields leave the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, a lot of people don't care at this point because we have Aaron Rodgers. But, Aaron Rodgers, he'll play this year. Maybe he might do another year. Justin Fields, he looked incredible against the Pittsburgh Steelers the other day. You can't deny how good Justin Fields looked. And why was that? Why did Justin Fields want to be a New York Jet? People will talk about the money. No, it wasn't about the money. Justin Fields, he led the Steelers to 4-2 record. Russell Wilson takes over. He struggles heavily. Can't even get a first down to the third quarter of a playoff game. And Justin Fields just over there sitting on the bench. If Justin Fields plays the entire year, I guarantee you the Pittsburgh Steelers would have won their first playoff game in 9 years. Makes no sense. Like, I don't do good with this type of logic. Ray Filipaldo went on to say, the more concerning thing for me is Keeanu Benton's play. Tuesday on the North Shores Drive podcast, I'm starting to wonder, this is going back to last season. They couldn't stop the run last season in that 5-game losing streak. It wasn't any better now. At what point do we see YA Black maybe get some play at nose tackle? Keeanu Benton, they're not going to bench him, but I think you have to find a way to better utilize his talents. He just doesn't hold up well against double teams. He's not a big guy. YA Black is twice as big. He commands double teams. If you're looking for a solution to the run game, to me, the easy thing would just be to take a look at that. And I agree. As soon as the Jets game was over, I made a video and I said, where the hell is YA Black? You can't just stick with guys because they have contracts and money. If they're not performing, they need to come out. And Keeanu Benton, he needs to come out. This is one thing about Coach Tomlin. Sometimes Coach Tomlin sticks with players way too long, and it costs the Pittsburgh Steelers games and losses, and it's very frustrating. The Pittsburgh Steelers gave up 190 rushing yards the other day. After the first quarter, YA Black should have been in the game. Okay, you want to rotate him, you want to get him more snaps, but you got to do something different. Because if Keeanu Benton can get blocked with just one guy, now that enables another offensive lineman to get his hands on Peyton Wilson, and he can't run to the football. You need Keeanu Benton or YA Black to get double teamed, and so that frees up Peyton Wilson, so he's not getting blocked. He has elite speed, but obviously has troubles getting off of offensive linemen to make tackles, and he got pushed around the entire game last week versus the New York Jets. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have to fix this problem sooner than later. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2.